Welcome everyone. My name is Michael Wilson. I'm Fire Solution Architect from Spark. I'm just going to take you through a kickoff meeting for the Sydney AU Core testing event that's going to be held on the 15th of July. Jump too far ahead. First of all, I'd just like to make an acknowledgement of country, and we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we all gather today. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We acknowledge the First Peoples as the first scientists, educators and healers. So the agenda for today, I've got a whole heap of slides to go through, but I want to keep it pretty informal. So if you have questions as we go, please raise your hand, speak up. Happy to answer questions as we go along. There's also an opportunity at the end to answer questions, but if you have them to go, happy to do it as we go. So just going to introduce you to the facilitators, give an overview of what the testing event's about, talk about testing scenarios, testing resources we have available, as well as how to provide feedback. And then at the end, I just want to go through participants on the line and talk about what you're planning on bringing to testing, what you might need, what you want to do, just so we can get to know each other a little bit before the event as well. And then just general questions at the end, or like I said, happy to do that as we go. So the facilitators for the event, that's going to be myself, Michael Wilson, and Steph and Heath. So we're all going to be there on the day. We'll also have a number of other Sparked people there that can help you out and provide some guidance. So there'll be plenty of us there to provide support on the day. You also reach out before the event if you need to any of us. So it's the Spark AU Core testing event page. We've got a page on Confluence. So there's a QR code there. I can also just paste that in the chat. Put it in the chat there for you. And here's the page here. So this is just a summary of some of the stuff we're going to go through today. So it's on the page where you've got, can refer back to it, talking about the event. There's a copy of the slides from today also in here. We'll also put the recording up there afterwards, and got the agenda, the system roles, some other resources and the like. And this is where we'll also put a report out at the end of the day. So that's all available there. So just to provide an overview of the event. So the purpose of the event is to foster collaboration among the AU Core profile of interaction support implementers, facilitate practical testing to identify issues, challenges, gaps in AU Core. So it's a structured environment for real-time system testing and troubleshooting and sharing insights to refine AU Core. And we want the real goal of the day is to actually gather essential feedback to enhance and mature AU Core. So really, it's just an opportunity for us to test the specification, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what you might have trouble implementing in your product. And the real thing we want to do at the end of the day is actually gather that feedback, provide that feedback back to AU Core so we can continue to mature and improve it. Where the event is, it's on Monday, the 15th of July. It's at Ridges World Square, 389 Pitt Street. So I don't have the exact room location on that, but there will be signs in the foyer, or there'll be some of us around in Spark t-shirts. So if you get lost or can't find your way, look for someone in a Spark shirt or look for a Spark sign, and we'll get you to the right room. And the agenda for the day. So registration will be there from 8:30 in the morning for registration, with aim to kick off at 9 o'clock. I'll just do an acknowledgement of country and go through what we're going to go through in the day. And then pretty much the rest of the day is really just AU Core testing. So myself, Steph, Heath, and some of the other Spark team will be there to help you work through it. So what we want you to do is you can use the testing tools that we'll have and try and connect to each other, use our reference implementations that like to do general testing of AU Core. We're going to have a morning tea, which will be in the room at 10:30. We're going to have lunch at 12:30, which I think will be in the restaurant. and then we'll have an afternoon tea at 3 o'clock as well. The last part of the day, probably from after that afternoon tea session, that's where we want to try and gather that testing feedback, gather your testing results, gather your feedback, so that we can identify the coverage of testing that we've done for AU Core on the day. And then we'll do a bit of a report back and close out at the end of the day as well, with an aim to finish up by 5 o'clock. So participant checklist, what you need to do before you come along. The first of all is, if you haven't already, if you're on this call and you haven't already completed a testing expression of interest, it's important you do that and tag the Sydney event, just so that we know exactly who's coming and what you're bringing. You'll need to bring along a product, a proof of concept, something that supports AU Core profiles with interaction support. So that's either as an AU Core responder or an AU Core requester. I'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. The other thing is making sure you're registered as a user on the HL7 Confluence, registered for a HL7 account, so you can access the HL7 Confluence and Jira systems. So anyone can create one of those accounts. You don't have to be a HL7 member. It's a free account. What that just does is enable you to create, modify the Confluence pages, contribute to the Confluence pages, and also raise issues in the Jira system. So best if you can do that before the event. Confirm you can log in, make sure you've got access to the Jira issue tracker, and also just familiarize yourself with that process of raising HL7 specification feedback, because ultimately that's what we're there for on the day. Is we want to do this testing, and any issues and that we find, we want to raise feedback for and feed that back in. So obviously prepare your product, the proof of concept, and the technical environment for testing on the day, and bring anything you need, any servers, and make sure you can access them remotely. Like, all we're going to really provide on the day is internet access through the hotel, power boards, and the rest is up to you to bring along. We'll also feed you, which is an important part. So the AU Core Fire Implementation Guide 040 Preview Snapshot is now available. So that's the snapshot that we want to use for testing. It's got all the latest changes in it. It's been specifically set up for testing. So anything you're testing at the moment should be targeting that 040 Preview Snapshot. I'll just show you that here. So you can see here, this is the preview that's been created for testing. So it's specifically for us. It's not the CI build, it is a specific snapshot. So that's the one we want to be using for anything you're testing at the moment. And the types of testing we want to be doing on the day is essentially testing either AU Core requesters or AU Core responders. So that AU Core requester is the system that creates or initiates a data access request, retrieves core digital health and administrative information, and acts as the client in the client-server interaction. The other side is the server, so it responds to data access requests, provides responses for core digital health and administrative information, and acts as the server in a client-server interaction. So for AU Core responder testing, the server testing, the types of testing you can do for this, basically you have a server that you've implemented as an AU Core responder. In the AU Core Fire Implementation Guide, there's a responder capability statement, which tells you what your server should be doing, what it should be doing to implement AU Core. And you can test that using testing tools like our Inferno test suite. So that's available at inferno.hl7.org.au. There's also a guide on our Confluence page, so I can just show you that as well. So we've got at inferno.hl7.org.au, we have the Inferno test suite. It's been preloaded with the AU Core 040 preview set of test suites. And that will then, you'll be able to run those against your server here. So when you select run all tests, you can choose your server and what you want to run against it, which profiles you want to run. So this is all set up for that 040 preview, all the tests in here. There's also a guide for running Inferno that's on our Confluence page. So that gives you an idea of what to run, how to run it, what it does, and the like. So it's quite a valuable resource there. You don't have to use Inferno. You may want to, maybe something you use as part of your testing. You can also run your own test scripts or harnesses. The other key thing that we can do during this testing event, where we've got different participants from different organizations using different products, is actually test with other systems. So I think that's something that we would like to achieve on the day, is getting people connecting to different systems. So if you've got your fire server, being able to make it open and available for others to connect to with client systems, that would be a great thing we can do to show our interoperability between systems and test that out. I might just stop there for a second. I see some questions in the chat. So Stephen, you're saying, do you want participants to direct, edit and change contents of Confluence pages, or do you prefer participants to put comments in the comments boxes towards the bottom of the Confluence page? Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's no hard and fast rules there. You can add comments depending on what we're doing, the comments or editor page, but they are open. It is an open system, so you can contribute however's best.
Yeah, Michael, the reason why I raised that point is that the conference page, as you've shown, contains instructions for people sort of how to navigate and how to do testings. And if people go in and make edits and change that content, you might not want that to happen. So that's the reason why I'm making that suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, though, the community, it's an open community. We do trust each other to a degree. Well, we definitely trust each other. So I think the pages are open. They are open to be edited. If there's an obvious mistake in there, you can actually fix the mistake too. So
well, I understand that it's not a matter of trust. It's a matter of whether or not someone inadvertently sort of did something and it might kind of cause inconvenience.
Yeah, I mean, that's always possible. We do have the history. We can always go back to another page and that as well. So obviously, yeah, I think comments is a good way to do it. Just put comments at the bottom of the page, but they are open. They are available to be edited. I've got another question here. I'm assuming it's all set up and already available since Brisbane event is over. Sanjeev, is that?
This is about the Inferno setup, so that we can try hooking up to it and then see if everything's set up on our side. But I think if we do it on that day, probably it might be too late.
Yeah, that's right. It is. So it is there now. It's available to use right now. So you can do it. We're continually to improve these products, right? So we learned a lot from the last event in Brisbane. We've raised some issues. We're fixing some issues. There'll be another drop of this sometime next week, and it will continuously improve these products. So, but they're absolutely available now. They're ready to use now. You can start to connect to them, test with them, use them now to get a feel for how it's going to work. So absolutely.
Thank you.
So for the AE core requester testing, so this is kind of client testing. So if you implement your system as an AE core requester, which is really just a client, and we have a Sparked AE Core Fire reference server. So I'm going to go through that in a little bit more detail later. But we have a reference server that you can connect your client system to use. But also, we'd like other people that are attending on the day. If you can make your server available to others, then it'll be great to see whether client systems can connect and retrieve data from your systems. But we have a reference server, but yeah, the more that we've got available, the better for others to connect to. So testing resources. So this is, I want to talk a bit more about the Sparked AE Core Fire reference server. So we have a server available at the moment. It's that URL there. That it's loaded with all of the AE Core profiles from the 040 snapshot preview. It's also loaded with test data. So we've got some test data in there. It's available for read and search with no authorization required. and also supports the dollar validate operation. So if you were just trying to validate some profiles, you can also do that against that server. If you do want to test, create an update, we can also provide you with a tenant that is writable. So if that's something you want and something you'd like to have available for you at the event, just send us an email to fire@csiro.au and we can provision that tenant for you so that you can actually have a writable tenant if that's something you want to use in testing. We'll also have the Spark terminology server, so txdev.hl7.org.au. This will include all the AU core profiles and terminology you'll need. It's also got AU base in there. Basically everything you'd need from a terminology point of view to support testing. And it supports the $5 validate code, and expand operations. And we'll have all the code sets in there that you need. I think we'll also have Michael Osborne there from our terminology team to provide support and any questions you might have on that as well. Inferno Test Kit, I've already briefly talked about this. Like I said, that's available now. You can go there, use it, connect it to your system right now. We are going to do another drop of that next week sometime. We'll probably drop something in the Zoom chat just to tell you when that's available. But it's going to continuously improve and evolve over time. We're trying to get more and more coverage in there. So yeah, but it's ready to go now. Test data as well. So we have a GitHub repository which has a set of test data in there. So it's synthetic, realistic data conforming to HL7 AU Fire IG. So it's not just there for AU Core. It's got more coverage than just AU Core, but it provides a good test set of data for patients, practitioners, practitioner roles, organizations, and a whole heap more. Again, this is something we're continually expanding on and building on. So I think we're going to try and drop some more data in there next week in preparation for the event. And this has things in it like we've got sanctioned IHIs and the like from Services Australia. So this is all data that is available to be shared and used for testing. So it's not real world data. So that's a great resource. You can use it for loading into your servers, for comparing with what you might have put together. There's some Postman collections in there for loading the data and the like. And we'll also load that into our reference server that we mentioned down the bottom. So this test data will be available through that reference server as well. So providing feedback for AU Core. So this is the primary purpose of these events. What we're trying to do is assess the maturity, the completeness of AU Core. So your testing results are essential for us for informing the publication process of AU Core as well. So without these results, we can't assess the maturity of AU Core. So as part of this process, hopefully we can do it on the day, but you can do it outside of the sessions as well, is we actually want you to compile your test results and then submit them so that we can assess the coverage of testing. So we're not going to use these, they're not going to be made public in any form other than a coverage statement of who's tested what parts of AU Core, so that we know that sufficient amount of AU Core has been tested by enough different systems so that we can assess the maturity. So that test results can have fails in it. It can be incomplete if you couldn't test everything. The important thing here is just we're going to assess the coverage, who's tested, what sort of coverage of AU Core. And we're going to publish that coverage, but we're not going to publish passes. We're not going to, or fails, or any of that information about that. And we'll also destroy that information after we've done those coverage reports. So they're not going to be made available anywhere else. So that's something we're going to, in the last session of the day, we want to make sure work with you so you can submit what you've tested so we can do that analysis on it. And that might be as simple as if you've run the Inferno tests, that you just dump the Inferno test report out and upload that. If we're doing client testing or other types of testing, we might throw together something that's got some screenshots in it or some sample test data or the like that you actually used. It can be any form you like, just something that we can sort of get the coverage assessment out of The other important thing we're there to do as part of this testing event is to provide AU core feedback. So we want to share the experiences and provide feedback to improve the AU core specification. So, and this type of input from these types of real world testing events is going to be crucial for the ongoing development and enhancement of AU core. So that's where we want to make sure that you've registered on the HL7 Confluence and Jira systems so you can submit feedback. And then we want you to raise those issues by providing feedback in a Jira issue. So we'll be there on the day to help you do that. And we certainly had some come out of the Brisbane event. One example was someone thought that there was too many must supports. It was too hard to implement because there's too many must supports. So that's the sort of feedback we want to see how it goes moving forward. So we have for the event, this link here is actually a participant capability. So this is for people coming on the day. We'd like you to fill in, preferably before the event, what you plan to test on the day so that we can get an idea of what you're bringing, what you want to do, how you're going to test. And it's probably a good opportunity now just to go around the virtual room and talk about what you're bringing on the day, how you'd like to test, what sort of test data you might want to use. Is there anything you need or would like to get out of the day? So I think this is all good so that we can make sure we're prepped and ready for the day and we can all get the most out of the day. So I might go around the room. I know, Sean, you're here. Did you want to kick things off about what you're bringing?
Yeah, I'm bringing the SmartForms product. It's a fire questionnaire renderer. And recently we have a couple of questionnaires which implements AU Core. So this is from a client-side testing perspective. We are mainly testing AU Core conditions, encounters, observations, potentially medications. Yeah. Test data do you intend to use? Yeah, those aforementioned resources really. Is there anything you need to support testing? Mainly a working test suite. So a server that provides AU Core resources, which I believe is already. And I will probably update the capability page right after this meeting.
Yeah,
with the product.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah,
cool.
No, that'd be great. Thank you. Just trying to look who else is on the line here. Is there someone from Telstra Health who wants to have a chat?
Yeah, sure, I can go. We are actually going to have a meeting just after this. So we're going to plan out who's going to be testing what.
Yep.
We've got like multiple applications. We'll also maybe try to bring our own test data server that we can just check against. I can't guarantee that.
Sorry,
things that we're thinking of doing. Yeah, and we have a planning meeting, I think, at around 3:30 today, where we decide who does what.
No, that sounds good. But I think, yeah, if you could go and after you've worked out what you want to bring along, what you want to do, if you just update that capability page, that would be great, so that we've got an idea of what you're coming along with.
Will do.
Who else we got? Neil from MediRecords.
I will probably connect to our test MediRecords server for as a responder. We plan to test patient and possibly one of the other ones, and most likely one of the other ones, either allergy, intolerance, condition, encounter, if not all of them, depending on time requirements. And we likely use Inferno. Well, one question with with Inferno, like one of the things with it last time, was that it would try to do a search by ID, and then if that failed, then you're really blocked. You can't find out whether any of the must support items are like it can't go any further. Like, is that going to be more flexible this time around? In that, I think we never did search by ID because we already have a get by ID. So things like that, like being able to go further if one of the tests fails, or is it still a case of it's sequential, and if the first test fails, then you can't go any further?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is to a degree because it does build up a set of test data, and then it applies that to the future tests. So, I mean, that is something that we saw at the Brisbane event, those type of things where, yeah, it can't complete enough of the test because of those dependencies and the like. But I think that's something even that is raising that at the event, so we can look at that, and we can raise issues against Inferno as well in this testing event. So it's not just about the specification. We can also raise issues against these testing tools and try and work out what we need them to do in the future to make them more useful. So yeah, there's definitely some dependencies there, and there's still some gaps, and we're continually trying to improve these products. But that's all valuable feedback as well that we can gather during the events. So.
Thank you.
And we can try and work around other ways about, well, if we can't run these tests, maybe we can do that testing in a different way and the like. So we can try and work out some approaches to that on the day as well.
Neil, I think the issue that you had at the last Connectathon, that was raised as an issue, and I think, I think that was something that we fixed. So if you don't mind going in and retesting, that'd be great.
I think that, yeah, Neil, probably we can try even before the testing event and
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was something about the patient ID. Was it ID or identifier?
The rev include.
The rev include. Oh, the rev include's been taken out altogether because it got taken out of the IG, AU Core IG. So those tests are no longer present.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, but Chauvin, are you on the line? Do you want to?
Yeah, sure. Michael, I'm bringing a Smart Inquiry app, which is mainly built based on the IPS specification, but aligned with the EU Core AUCDI model. So I'll be testing few resources like verification request, allergy intolerance, and condition. And I would probably need access to write or create information as well.
Okay. So would you like a write instance for our reference server?
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Can you send us an email to fire@csro
Yeah,
today just to request that, so we can set one of those up before the event. So, right, just going through my list here. Who else might be here? There are too many windows open. Sorry, I've lost my list, but who else on the call that would like to talk about what they want to bring along?
Hi, Jana Vida is here. So I'll come with post test file server with AU Core profiles loaded, which is sandbox, and with a requester, which is BDMR, and we'll try to test across some resources such as condition, encounter, medication, observation, and the patient.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's my goal. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? We have anyone from InterSystems on the call? No. InterSystems was at the Brisbane event, but I think they might come into this one as well.
Hi, Michael. This is Aileen. from the agency, and there's a few
hi.
of us
Yep.
on the call as well. And our perspective in testing is a bit different. We don't have product as such, but we do have a number of FHIR implementation guides and profiles that we derive from AU Core. So that will be our focus in terms of testing the profiles. And it'll be across a range of the different resources.
Yep, great. So I think, yeah, you did some testing at the Brisbane event as well. So I assume it's a continuation of that. Is there anyone else on the call who'd like to talk about what they're bringing? No, it's all right. So, but I think if everyone could just update that capability page for the day, and then we'll go through that in the morning as well on the day, so that we can know who's in the room, what they're testing, try and match people up if they're able to do testing between each other and the like. So that's why that's important that we have that, so we can all work together on the day and know who's testing what. So we definitely understand that this is a huge contribution you're making to AU Core, and that we don't want that to go unrecognized. So as part of the Confluence page, we've got a place where we're showing all our testing partners. So all of those that are contributing to the testing of AU Core. So if you haven't already and you'd like your logo to be on this page to show that you're a contributor, please just send it through to fire@csiro.au your logo and say that you're participating in testing and want to have your logo up on the page. So we'd definitely like to acknowledge you all. So this is a huge contribution you're making, and we want everyone to see.
Michael, this should have been the first slide.
Sorry?
Sorry, this should have been the first slide in your deck.
Great. Just going to questions. So there is a AU Core testing FAQ page here. That QR code's there. So we've got a number of FAQs about testing. I've got the link here to that was showed earlier, which was the testing event page. There's also a Zulip chat. So we'll post in the Zulip chat any updates we've got to test data or testing tools and that as well, so you'll know when they come out. If you've got any questions, you can also just send us an email at fire@csiro.au. But I'd also like to open the floor now to anyone who's got any questions you'd like us to answer now. So don't know if there's any in the chat. Steph, did you see any more in the chat?
No, there's nothing else in the chat.
No. Oh, if there's no more questions, look forward to seeing everyone on the day, and feel free to reach out between now and then if you do have any more questions. But hopefully we had a great day and we can achieve a lot. And thank you all for coming today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all. Bye.
Thank you.